Hello, good evening everyone. It's going to be a mower fest, so I'll try and shout a bit, as I was doing in the press box. No, I'm as good as gold. Well, this was a big game. This was a game I was saying, don't lose. Norwich have got so much to lose today. It's the thing they need to try and avoid doing. You take anything, you take a point, you have a goalless draw today would be great. Norwich have lost 2-0. A goal in the minute either side of half time. The first one is a set piece, a brilliant block from Max Aarons just before, but it's a corner that comes in. Tim Krul spills it. No one really reacts properly, and Andre Ayew is pretty cute. And actually, with the sort of goal you'd see Tim Bookie score, actually. Really quick reaction and turned it home really nicely. At that point, you're thinking, they're playing Swansea at home. They've conceded 15 goals all season. They're going to do really well to get anything from this game, because they'd already looked a bit hit and miss in terms of their attacking play. But it was a really captivating game, end to end. Both teams, very like the game at Carrow Road in fairness, both teams having sort of 5 to 10 minute spells of dominating and probing, and then it was whatever they could create in those spells. And neither team really created a lot, to be honest, although the game itself was captivating. So you're already thinking at half time, this is going to be a bit tough this now. But you don't write them off. I personally had in the back of my mind the Brentford game. It was a similar kind of scenario. And then really inexplicably, Norwich had a really wasteful opening 5 minutes or whatever it was. Ben Gibson, obviously he's normally so good with the ball. It was a sort of a sloppy pass back across goal to Max Aarons, and that sort of set off a chain reaction of several really poor passes. And in the end, Kenny McLean gives the ball away. And it's a wonderful strike from Conor Hourihane, and that's why I love him as a player. That's why Swansea have loaned him from Aston Villa for a huge amount of wages each week, and why he's the sort of signing that can really give you a boost in terms of your promotion bid. That Norwich have experienced that before, say in 2003-04. It's a fantastic signing to really add some quality to this side, and I think that's now 3 goals in 3 games that he's scored, and he's making a significant difference, because ultimately a really fine strike, and that second goal just kills the game dead. Norwich had a really good reaction after that. They moved the ball well, they kept the ball well, they did a lot with it, sort of around in front of the penalty area, if you like. But you could always sense at that point Swansea are sitting there going, well, we haven't conceded many goals at home, we know we can just sit here now, let's see how we get on. And they did, and ultimately the time ran away, and Norwich had the odd decent chance. It was probably one of those occasions, and I say that knowing full well that the other last 2 games have been those occasions as well, where Norwich just struggled to force the ball on target, pretty much. Tim Bookie had a really good chance in the first half, but it was a nice ball from Todd Cantwell, but it did seem to push him slightly further wide. Emi Buendia tends to play those balls from a different angle, so that they are probably giving Tamu a different run in. But also, Swansea are very good defensively. Steve Cooper talking after the game, he knew exactly where Norwich's strengths were and set his side up to counter those, and they did. And I have to say, again, it's a bit like the Millwall game. This was quite a similar game to the one at Carrow Road. If Jamal Lowe scores either of his 2 wonderful chances in that game, it's a very different result. And Norwich kept it tight, and then they nicked it in the end. Nicked it not to underplay their performance, because it was a good performance, but they scored a late goal, and that was enough to win the game. Here Norwich kind of shot themselves. No, they didn't shoot themselves in the foot, because they didn't do it deliberately, but they made the mistakes that ultimately cost them in a game where there wasn't really that much between the 2 teams. But when you do something like that, and a player like Hourihane can dispatch a goal like that, then the mountain is very tall, and I'm afraid Norwich never really like scaling it tonight. Conversely, Norwich are taking shots from when it's maybe not the best decision. When it is the right decision, they are missing the target comfortably, and they look devoid of confidence. We can keep talking about missing Emi Buendia, and for the record, they clearly do miss Emi Buendia, and he's not on the pitch. It's a concern how they do appear reliant on him. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, in terms of the way he progresses, I know he's not brilliant every game, but the way Emi progresses the ball, moves into spaces and knits things together a lot of the time, the way he's basically the primary assister for Teemu Pukki's goals, they really miss him. And there's a bit of me that's like, well, for the longevity of the club and what's being built, you don't really want to be missing. As good as Emi is, it's very hard to miss one player like that. So that is a frustration. And I don't know. I mean, it's hard to really argue with the factual evidence, really, on that. There was no problem with the 11 today. I thought it was the 11 I would have picked. I would have had Jakob Sorensen at left back. I would have started with Kenny McLean in the 10, although he played very deep, and that kind of vacated this space that tends to be so crucial for Teemu Pukki. So therefore he started coming a bit deeper, and you just struggled to have them people running in behind. Again, they weren't really playing high up enough up the pitch, which again has been a kind of an issue. And that number 10 spot is a problem at the moment. I don't know what they're going to do about that either at the moment. What I will say is there was a positive in that was by some distance Anel Hernandez's most impactful appearance from the bench. So you sense maybe a bit more rhythm from him. Likewise, Adamida, who got some proper minutes and had won a couple of chances. Some nice hold-up play as well. So you're just seeing a couple of... God, they're so noisy. Just seeing a couple of glimpses of them maybe reaching a competitive level, so that Daniel has a few more options. And of course now he has got a week to work on it all, and he will also have Emi Buendia back for Stoke's visit to Carrow Road on Saturday. But I mean, that's far from an easy game either. Quite clearly Norwich have played three teams who are defensively good, and it's shown. And of course this all filters into the fact that it's a very different championship table to the one we've seen in recent weeks. Norwich are now within catching distance for Swansea and Brentford with their games in hand. And if everyone was sitting there thinking, oh well, we're the best team in the division, and all the opposition managers are saying, oh, they're the best team in the division, and I was like, well, if we just turn up the next 20 games we'll be alright, then I think everyone's kind of realised that won't be the case. And the momentum is quite clearly with Swansea and Brentford at the moment. But I have to say, Daniel Farke spoke very well after the game today. He's not so worried about the momentum. It was quite an extraordinary pre-match press conference. I will be writing a fair amount about it when I get sort of to my halfway house after this game. And we are just in a fascinating period of the season, because no one outside of Norfolk probably wants Norwich to go up because they're bored of it. Everyone would probably rather see Swansea and Brentford go up. It would be much more exciting, and there is an expectation around Norwich as well. So, there is this sense in the camp that they feel confident that they can do it. They would be, and they clearly feel they've got the experience and the characters as well. That's no guarantee. And in fairness to Daniel Farke, he said exactly the same thing as well. So it's all an issue. It all feels a bit imbalanced at the moment, and that tends to be the case when things aren't going well. And they're not going very well at the moment. The question is whether it can be quite short-lived, and we'll probably get the answer to that coming up certainly over the coming weeks and starting next weekend. But it's definitely a stutter. Swansea should have had a penalty in the second half. Simon Hooper was incredibly inconsistent. He got all sorts of decisions wrong. I do try not to talk about the referees, especially for those of you who listen to the On The Ball podcast. All I'll say is that with Emi Buendia's, sorry, it's so cold. With Emi Buendia's sending off, I am now conscious of his reputation earning that to a degree, and that is the prism I'm seeing the other non-bookings being given out. I understand we can criticise Emi for making poor decisions, but let's be honest here. Gay should have been booked for pulling someone back and then got booked later on for a tackle that was clearly a yellow. Hurahan kicked the ball away after committing a foul that was, could have been a booking, and then stood on the ball a few minutes later. That's all before, all this stuff sort of adds up. And I suppose the thing is, you could get a referee next week who'd book everyone for everything. or who looks at it and goes, oh, it's Emi Buendia, I'll book him. So there we go. No, we're not going to get stuck into that, are we? I think we could all do with a week of no football, so that's where we're going to be. I will be writing away, doing all my usual things. Please post your comments, let me know your thoughts. I'm always interested, and we'll see how we get on at Carrow Road next weekend. Enjoy the weekend's football if you're going to follow it. If not, shut off, and there'll be some stuff on The Athletic, as normal, as always. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, look after your loved ones, and see you very soon.